He imagined a world powered by invisible energy, lit by electricity flowing freely to every home on Earth. He gave us the system that still powers our cities today, dreamed of wireless communication a century before the smartphone, and filled his notebooks with inventions the world was not yet ready to understand. In his laboratory, he summoned bolts of man-made lightning and bent the very forces of nature to his will. And yet, this towering genius died alone and nearly penniless in a New York hotel room, his greatest dreams unfinished, his name fading into shadow. He was a prophet of the modern age, a man who could see the future with startling clarity, but who could never quite master the world he lived in. This is the story of Nikola Tesla, the brilliant, tragic visionary who, more than almost anyone, invented the world we live in today. Nikola Tesla was born in 1856 during a fierce thunderstorm in a small village in what is now Croatia, then part of the Austrian Empire. According to family legend, the midwife feared the lightning was a bad omen, but his mother declared he would be a child of the light. It was a fitting prophecy. Young Nikola was a strange and brilliant boy, blessed with a photographic memory and a mind that raced with vivid images. He could perform complex calculations in his head and visualize machines so completely that he could build and test them entirely in his imagination. His mother, though uneducated, was a gifted inventor of household devices, and from her he inherited his restless creativity. From the very beginning, the boy was fascinated by one mysterious force above all others, the crackling, invisible power of electricity. Tesla studied engineering, but he was a troubled and obsessive student, consumed by a single problem that his professors insisted was impossible to solve. The electric motors of the day ran on direct current, a system that was clumsy, inefficient, and dangerous over long distances. Tesla became convinced there was a better way. Then one evening in 1882, while walking through a park in Budapest reciting poetry, the answer struck him like a thunderbolt. In a flash of insight, he saw the entire solution. A motor powered by alternating current using a spinning magnetic field. He was so overcome that he froze and traced the design in the dirt with a stick. It was one of the most important ideas in the history of technology. Tesla had imagined the system of alternating current that would one day electrify the entire planet. Now he only had to convince the world. In 1884, Tesla arrived in New York, an immigrant with little more than a few coins, a book of his own poetry, and a letter of introduction to the most famous inventor in America, Thomas Edison. Edison gave him a job, and the two brilliant men were soon working side by side. But they could not have been more different. Edison was a relentless, practical experimenter who trusted hard work over theory. Tesla was a refined visionary who solved problems in his mind. Above all, they clashed over a fundamental question: the future of electricity itself. Edison had staked his entire fortune on direct current. Tesla believed passionately in his own alternating current. According to Tesla, Edison once promised him a fortune to improve his machines, then laughed it off as a joke. Insulted and disillusioned, Tesla quit. The stage was now set for one of the greatest rivalries in the history of invention. Tesla soon found a powerful ally, the industrialist George Westinghouse, who bought his alternating current patents and shared his vision. Together they challenged Edison's empire, igniting a bitter struggle known as the War of the Currents. It was a clash for the future of the world, and Edison fought without mercy. To frighten the public and discredit alternating current, his side staged gruesome demonstrations, using it to electrocute animals, and even helped develop the electric chair, all to brand Tesla's system as a deadly killer. But the propaganda could not overcome the simple truth. Alternating current was vastly superior. It could be sent efficiently across hundreds of miles of wire, powering whole regions from a single station, something direct current could never do. Slowly, the tide began to turn. Tesla's invisible force was proving itself unstoppable, and the world was about to witness its triumph on the grandest stage imaginable. The ultimate test came at one of the natural wonders of the world, Niagara Falls. For years, engineers had dreamed of harnessing its colossal power, but no one knew how to send that energy where it was needed. Tesla had known the answer since he was a boy. Using his alternating current system, Westinghouse and Tesla built a great power station at the falls, capturing the raw force of the rushing water and converting it into electricity. In 1896, they threw the switch, and the power of Niagara surged through the wires, lighting up the city of Buffalo, 26 miles away. It was a stunning triumph, the moment Tesla's vision became undeniable reality. The War of the Currents was over, and Tesla had won. Alternating current would now become the foundation of the modern electrical age, the same system that hums through the walls of your home at this very moment. Now world famous, Tesla's imagination soared to even greater heights. In his laboratories, he produced artificial lightning bolts millions of volts strong, lit lamps with no wires at all, and laid the groundwork for radio, remote control, and X-rays. But his grandest dream was the most breathtaking of all. Tesla believed he could transmit not just messages, but electrical power itself, wirelessly, through the very air and earth, to anywhere on the planet. He envisioned free energy for all of humanity, drawn from the earth and broadcast like radio waves. To build it, he began constructing an enormous transmission tower called Wardenclyffe on Long Island. It was perhaps the boldest engineering dream of the age, a structure meant to wirelessly power the world. Tesla was reaching for a future that even today, more than a century later, we have still not fully achieved. But Tesla's dream was far ahead of its time, and it needed enormous amounts of money. His chief backer was the powerful financier J.P. Morgan. When Morgan realized that Tesla intended to give energy away freely, with no way to charge for it and no way to profit, he withdrew his support. Other investors followed, frightened by the staggering cost and the impossible ambition. Funds dried up. Work on the Great Tower ground to a halt, and the unfinished structure was eventually torn down and sold for scrap. It was a devastating blow from which Tesla never truly recovered. Brilliant with machines but naive with money and business, he watched his grandest vision collapse into ruin. The man who had electrified the world now found himself sliding slowly into debt, disappointment, and a long, lonely decline. In his final decades, Nikola Tesla faded from public view. He continued to dream up extraordinary inventions and make bold predictions, many of which sounded like pure fantasy, yet would later come true. But the world had moved on, and the money never returned. He grew increasingly eccentric and solitary, troubled by powerful obsessions and a deep distrust of human company. He moved from one hotel to another as his debts mounted, and found his greatest comfort in the company of the pigeons he fed in the park, speaking of one white pigeon as though he loved her like a person. The man who had once commanded lightning now lived quietly and alone, his brilliant mind still racing with ideas the world refused to fund. On the 7th of January 1943, Nikola Tesla died in his room at the Hotel New Yorker, alone and almost forgotten. For years after his death, Nikola Tesla was treated as a footnote, a strange genius overshadowed by more famous rivals. But the world never stopped using his inventions. Every time you switch on a light, charge your phone, or send a signal through the air, you are living inside the future Tesla imagined. In time, his reputation was reborn. Today, he is celebrated as one of the greatest inventors who ever lived, a visionary whose name now graces electric cars and whose ideas still inspire scientists and dreamers around the globe. He was a man who saw too far ahead, who cared more for the future than for fortune, and who paid a heavy price for his genius. Nikola Tesla gave humanity the power of the modern world and asked for little in return. He did not just predict the future, he built it. Nikola Tesla, the lonely genius who summoned lightning and lit the modern world.